Tony Doherty here for NPC News Online with the real deal, Chris Cormier.
Thank you, Tony. Good to be here. How are you?
I'm doing good, Chris. Now, I've got to ask you, when they bought out 30 years of Arnold Classic champions, and you got second how many times? 6?
6 years in a row.
Did it kind of bite a little bit, knowing that you probably should have been up there?
Well, you know me for many years, Tony. You know it upsets me on a daily basis, almost year-round. So, yeah, I feel like they could have put a little asterisk in there, or at least a little silhouette with all the other guys.
Yeah, no, it would have been nice to see you up there, but how good was it, like historically, to see all the winners up there, going back from Rich Gaspari all the way through to Cedric McMillan?
Oh, yeah, I'm a fan first in the sport, and it's always great to reminisce about the times that I shared my life in this sport, and I continue to do so. And it's always great because I'm a historian in the sport also.
Now, in 2 weeks, we've got the Arnold Australia on, and we started that back in 2001, and you were actually the first athlete that I signed up and the biggest supporter of my show. How are the memories of going back out there?
Well, actually, we had a handshake because I never really signed any contracts to go out there.
Never.
But I just told you that I was going to come and I was going to help you make it happen, and I was going to compete in as many times as I could, and that's what I did. For the next 5 years, I did every show I could.
Yeah, you sure did. You won it 4 times?
It was 3 times, but it should have been a 4th time, like you said. Because your mind is telling you one thing, and what happened is another. But
I know which one you're talking about. You never let me forget that one. Now, Chris, you're doing some great things now. Obviously, you're back involved in the sport, which I'm really happy to see, doing like your camps and training people all over the world, but particularly with the presentation and the posing. And being here at the Arnold Classic is very appropriate because Arnold is the biggest one on posing altogether. And it's not just about the posing routines. As we said, we were talking to Breon Ansley last night, who's the current Olympia Classic Physique champion.
Yes. And
we asked him how much a week does he practice. He said, because of Chris, about 10 hours.
Yeah, we take it really serious, and I like that he's a hard worker, and his work ethic is second to none. So he takes everything I throw at him.
Right, but it's not just his routine. In fact, I think is where a lot of guys go wrong is they get this fancy music and maybe a choreographer, and they get all these slick moves, but by the time they get to do that, the judging's already done and they're not winning because they don't practice the compulsories, the quarter turns, and most importantly, the transitions, holding the stomach and flexing the legs when they're not flexing. And this is something you were very, very good at, and you made it look painless.
Yes, and I tried to convey this to Breon, and we could do the compulsory poses the most, and then, because when you set up from a transition to another pose, it still boils down to, the best way to display your physique. So that's what we try to work on. I let him have his own style, but I try to tinker with some of the movements that he makes for his own self and for his own style.
Now, you're doing that all around the world. How can people get in touch with you? Do you do coaching online or anything like that, or you just travel to Kuwait and Australia and all these exotic places?
Yeah, I've been using Instagram a lot. A lot of people DM me on my Instagram. And that's Chris Cormier 2, the number 2, Chris Cormier 2. And also my email, therealdealcormier@gmail.com.
Cool. Well, we'd like to give you our highest recommendation because I've seen Chris work with a number of people for a lot of years, and he really does bring out the best in them because he knows the sport. I think you said earlier, Chris, you're actually a fan of the sport and a historian of the sport. In fact, I've probably never met anybody bigger bodybuilding fan out of all the pros than yourself. It goes right back.
What's ironic is that I read the Arnold Schwarzenegger book of the Encyclopedia Book of Bodybuilding, and that's where it all started when I was 18, learning the different fine points of posing and learning the importance of, measuring the physique. Everything he said in the book, I took it to heart, and that's the way I ran my whole career, was right behind all the different aspects of what Arnold laid in front of us.
One of the other important things that I learned from you, and I've repeated this a lot of my seminars, is you always said that, you didn't win your first show, but you just went back and competed as many times as you could as a junior, as a teenager, as a junior, right through the ranks until you turned pro. Then you kept competing. And I think when we're on the road doing those Grand Prix tours, you probably competed more than anyone. You didn't hesitate to compete.
Yeah, I did at least 10 shows a year for quite a bit of time. So every 6 months, I was doing at least five competitions. As a junior, as a teenager, I did eight competitions in a row. Win or lose, it didn't really matter to me, but I was mostly being very successful at it. But I wanted to be a field general a stage general on the stage, and that's where I wanted to you know, prosper and get my feet wet. You know, that's the way I did it.
Well, I think a lot of people should listen up and learn from that. Don't just do one show a year. Do as many as you can, because you continue to improve. You learn your craft, and you become a stage general. I like that.
That's right.
Chris Cormier, NPC News Online. We're out.